Mr. R. Anish Simha. He is engaged with Rinac India Limited as a Senior General Manager and Head Rinac Center for Excellence and Training. Coming from an engineering background with an experience of almost 3 decades, Mr. Simha held eminent positions during the period. A few select positions include ASHRAE Bangalore Chapter, immediate past president. He was National Chair, ISHRAE Refrigeration Committee, ISHRAE Technical Committee Chair for Refrigeration, past president, Association of Ammonia Refrigeration, committee member and chair for Refrigeration ACREX 2018, and conducted training programs for AAR, ISHRAE and ASHRAE Bangalore chapters. Today, Mr. Simha will give us a brief view on Cold Chain Outlook 2022. So delegates, let's welcome Mr. Simha.
We will now discuss about the cold chain outlook for the year 2020. So myself, Anish, I'm based out of Bangalore. I'm now just looking at the new center here, which we have started at Rinac, the Rinac Center for Excellence and Training. We'll now get directly into today's topic. I've been given a short time for a subject which takes more than a couple of hours for us to debate and discuss. However, let me see how I will be able to complete it in the prescribed time. So we all know cold chain, whereas specifically for the perishables, it's also called as the farm to fork, right from the processing of handling the material from the farm till the end it reaches the consumer's place, house, or his plate where he's going to have his breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So cold chain, we do categorize them for fruits and vegetables, for dairies, then for spices, meat and poultry, marine, pharma, nutraceuticals, RTE, and then there are other applications also. So now when we have a value chain for each and every of these aspects, what we just now discussed, which is form of the cold chain. Now, when we say, for example, when we consider perishables, fruits and vegetables, where our country has been discussing since quite some time that we are losing crores of rupees every year, and then we are trying to see that we reduce the losses. So right from where this starts, we have the produce from the farm, and then there are the team called as the aggregators. It can be a farmers produce organization or a cooperative society, some farms, traders, mandis. So they will negotiate with the farmers, and then to the product, what happens? There are primary and secondary processing centers where cleaning, grading, sorting, packing, and sometimes we do pulping of the some of the products like tomato, where the shelf life is 20 days, whether you put them into the cold stores or not. Then pre-cooling is again another part of the primary or secondary processing unit. Then, of course, the distribution cold stores, which involves cold storages alone. It can be a standalone cold store, or it can be a pack house where packing can be done. And then in both the cases, we require transport refrigeration to transport the material. Once it's pre-cooled, then it has to be under refrigerated conditions. Then finally, we have the retailing here, the convenience store, the supermarket, or we do export. So this is how the perishable fruits and vegetables under the cold chain will be processed. So our government of India is have been showing they have put in a lot of efforts and are still putting in. So they are also developing the cold chain. We have 100% FDI in food processing industries, in which cold chain is also a part. Then you have the proactive government policies and fiscal incentives. There are incentives for a cold chain. Then we have about 1.38 billion consumer market in India. Then India is the largest producer of several agri commodities. We are the 5th largest economy in the world, and then India's retail market to reach $1.3 trillion by 2025. This is taken directly from the website of Ministry of Food Processing Industries. You can all go through them. And then you can see how this our government has helped us. We have 42 mega food parks, out of which 22 are functional, balance are under various stages. In addition to that, the government promotes the integrated cold chain. And then for already existing cold stores or processing units, we have the value addition infrastructure. You have the creation and expansion of food processing or preservation capacities. Then schemes for creation of backward and forward linkages. Backward and forward linkages is like we discussed, from the farm up to the cold storage is the backward linkage till it gets processed. And then after processing, it's a forward linkage till it reaches the consumer. Then in any industry, you will have food safety and quality. Unless you do have these, then there is no point in people do not buy material. So we do have to follow the food safety and the quality. Then of course, training is again HR part. These two are this again from the website. So now let's talk about, as a refrigeration engineer, what we are more concerned here. Precoolers at the pack house or near the pack house. Then what is precooling? Precooling is nothing but as soon as you pick the fruit or vegetable, we remove the farm heat and bring it down to the storage temperature, maintaining a very high humidity so that the product does not lose the humidity and still it retains its freshness, taste, as well as the weight. So once that is done, then the material has to be treated at the level at the lower temperature. So we require a reefer vehicle to transport the material once it is pre-cooled. There the cold chain starts. Then it's brought to the pack house. In the pack house, there might be a small cold room. Pack house is where you do the grading, sorting, and cleaning of material. Then there are central cold stores and processing areas. In some regions which are closer to the farm, you can have the central cold store also does what the pack houses do. So then, in addition to that, we do have the ripening chambers, precoolers, blast chillers, blast freezers, IQF, plate freezers. Then after it is processed, we will have the cold warehouse. It can be a positive temperature or a negative temperature. Then you have the conditioned passages, anti-rooms, dock station. Then now we do have this rack-clad and mezzanine-clad warehouses. Then we do have the re-engineering building construction with box-in or box-out cold stores. The current trend is to give a turnkey solution to one single contract, which also includes civil, electrical, plumbing, and sanitary firefighting. Then process equipment, storage tanks, automation, storage racks, then insulated panels, refrigeration. All these now the refrigeration contractors are doing, because most of these customers want a single point of contact. Now, these are some of the few pictures. You can see this is the sliding door. This is the room in which you're maintaining the required temperature. This is all insulation. So then it prevents the amount of heat entering. It reduces, it doesn't prevent to zero, but it reduces the rate. And this is how the indoor unit, and this you can see large, many rooms all lined together. So I'm not taking much time, with paucity of time. These are inside the stores. You can see, and this is the docking station where the entire material, once there's a reefer truck comes in, you have air which gets blown through so that there's no outside air entering into this. So this is another how the insulated panels are manufactured. We have two types. One is a discontinuous, and this is how you have with Camlock arrangement. And these are the Camlocks. All of them are plastic. There is no metal in between. The metals are only the outside and the inside skins. The rest is all insulated material, and it is non-conducting material. So this is how. And then we do have another form, which is the continuous line. You can see in this, the length of the panels is not a constraint. This is the starting, and where you end, you see the panels coming in and they're kept cooled, they're just packed, and then they're dispatched in this ways. So a continuous line, they do not have Camlocks, but this is the kind of joining. Depending upon the thickness, you have one or two of these. So This is the style in which the cold stores are now constructed. You can see this is a very tall building. This can go up to 15-20 meters, single panel. It's only how we are able to transport it. And these are the storage. So you just first build the racks and then you clad it with the insulated panels. So these are all modern techniques, technology used now in the cold storage industry. So this is what we have already used them in India, and we will be seeing more of such coming to India. So then this is another automation where you have all these are fully automated cold store where the product always moves here automatically on these conveyors, and then there are cranes. The crane position them, so inward and outward is both through the conveyors. So here you save time, if there are no people, space is reduced, refrigeration load also decreases. So this is the modern warehouse. So now what do we foresee in the year 2022? What is our expectation from the industry? See, we would like to go green. We have already signed, we in the sense India, our country. We have with refrigeration also, we should make a guideline where 3,000 metric ton and allow about, make it a compulsory to use solar energy. So pre-coolers, as we already discussed, Mr. Pankaj has mentioned, it's from cold chain is from the farm to fork, especially the fruits and vegetable perishable sector. So pre-coolers is a part of the pack house, or it has to be near the farm. Then we do have the reefer vehicle to transport the pre-cooled material. Then the pack houses, which have grading, sorting, cleaning of fruits and vegetables, or we do have central cold store and the processing area, which again can have a pre-cooler. These are all geographically dependent. Finally, the product, whichever is nearer either a pack house or the central processing area, whichever is nearer to the farm, the product has to undergo the process. So then we do have in the larger processing area, we can also have the ripening chambers, the pre-coolers, blast chillers, blast freezers. Then we have the individual quick freezers, plate freezers, then the cold warehouse, conditioned passages, ante-rooms, the dock station. So basically what it is once it is pre-cooled, the cold chain for the particular produce has to be maintained. There is no chance that the fruit or the vegetable will be exposed to a condition which is not, environment which is not conditioned. Then when we come to the construction, we have the rack-clad cold warehouses, mezzanine-clad cold warehouses. Then we have the warehouses with pre-engineering construction, where we have the box in or the box out. But then we have the turnkey solutions requirement from various customers. They say the entire thing will be single point of contact. So now the refrigeration engineer, if he can tie up with various other contractors and then come up with a solution which includes civil, electrical, plumbing, sanitary, firefighting, process equipment, storage racks, automation, insulated panel, refrigeration system. So all these now will be taken care as a single contract, including finally the reefer vehicles. So this is another, these are a few photographs what I would like to share. You can see them. There are cold stores, then this is how the indoor unit looks like, and these are all various cold rooms lined up together for various products. This is another where you can have palletized store, and these are the inside pictures. This is the docking. Since we discussed that the material which comes after it is pre-cooled, it has to be under conditioned. So then when we are loading and unloading, we have these dock stations where the reefer trucks docks at this position. So this can be with air, filled with air, so that we will not allow the outside air to enter, which will unnecessarily be a load on the refrigeration system. So then this is the few pictures about the manufacturing. We do use insulated sandwich panels in the cold store industry, as well as now in many other industries. It is becoming common, especially in the food processing industries. So there are two types of panels I would like to go through. One are with Camlocks. You can see them. There's a double Camlock. You can have single Camlock. These are the Camlocks here. In the next slide, I'll show. This is actually an insulated panel with one metal here surface and the other metal surface on the other side. In between is fully insulated material, and these Camlocks are non-conducting. There is no conduction or conducting material which moves from one side to other. So that's how the cold stores are constructed. So this is how the Camlocks looks like. And then we have the continuous line of manufacturing where you can see the panels now being manufactured. So these are how the panels come out, and then they're packed, wrapped. Everything is fully automatic, right from you just have to fill the sheets in here and in the bottom. Then both the sheets are drawn. Everything is automatic. The chemical is poured in this style. So as the sheets are drawn around, the panel formation takes place. Then there's a cutting machine and so on. So it's fully continuous, and the quantities compared to discontinuous are very huge, tremendous. You can see every day the production capability or the capacity of a continuous machine. This is how there is no Camlocks here, but then you have the joints. This is the style in which the modern cold stores are constructed. You can see the panels here being installed, and this is the storage material here where the storage racks, and then you clad it with panels. So this is how the modern cold stores look like or being constructed at various stages. You can see these photographs. This is worldwide. It is the same style where we have, and even in our country, we do have many such installations, and we are going to see more such installations coming in the near future. So inside also is fully automated. There are conveyors which take in material, so no manhandling. Everything moves on the conveyor, and then there are cranes which lift it up. So this can go up to 40 meters, 25, 30, 40 meters tall. Lengthwise, it can go to 100 meters long. So you reduce the width. Overall, the space required gets reduced, but you'll require longer areas, lengthier areas. So then this reduces the refrigeration capacity also. No people, no air required, no lighting. So everything is fully automatic. You can program them. So this is how the worldwide modern cold stores are. Now coming to the recommendations for the 2022 cold chain. See, India promotes green refrigeration, so we should make guidelines saying that above 3,000 metric ton allow only natural refrigerants or refrigerants with very low global warming potential. And try and use solar energy for all cold stores. I'm not talking about solar refrigeration, but use solar energy and make it mandatory based on capacity. Like say 3,000 metric ton and above, it should be mandatory. I'm sure now even smaller ones, we have remote cold rooms with solar refrigeration or solar energy used refrigeration system. Then we do have ensure that, as we discussed, we should have the cold chain should be within the reach of the farmers or within the reach where it is being cultivated. Ensure that if the cold store, now government do provide subsidies, so if a cold store has been constructed with a subsidy saying that fruits and vegetables are being stored, we should ensure that at least a minimum quantity of fruits and vegetables are stored there. If it's 100%, it's good, but then we shouldn't use them to start using them to store other commodities other than the fruits and vegetables. So have a check on the plant efficiency and promote uniform power tariff. See, the refrigeration efficiency, the plant efficiency is very important. We cannot have a highly power consuming system. Then people will find it non-operatable, and then they switch off, and then it leads to a lot of other discrepancies in the material. So in the products. Finally, let's promote. We want the government, or let's all put in, ensure that we promote a power tariff for cold stores, which can be preferably subsidized initially till the cold store industry stabilizes, then award the cold stores with higher power efficient refrigeration plants. Then bring in uniform 12% GST for all the components of the cold chain. Cold chain is everything, including packing, grading, everything what we discussed now, instead of 18%. Then this is another important point, like provide uniform import duty for all cold chain components, whatever we discussed here. Irrespective of the treaty with certain countries, we do have zero duties. Then we are not competitive for the vendors. Let's have a common, so that we have been discussing that we are losing crores every year. So instead of once we have stabilized cold stores, and when we stabilize the components and come out with the model which will be more economical and workable, then I'm sure Indian companies will also start manufacturing similar components, and then there might not be a requirement of this what we have done here. So then mandatory to have pre-coolers at every growing area. It can be 2 or 5 metric ton. So you have pre-coolers, then once you pre-cool, nobody will transport it in a vehicle which is not refrigerated. So this gives the usage, it brings in more usage of reefer vehicle. So you can start the cold chain directly after pre-cooling the product. So we should ensure that once the product is picked from the farm, it has to be pre-cooled within, it's mandatory that it has to be pre-cooled within a specific time. Then promote the and train handling of the refrigerants. So now we are refrigerants which will be banned, so that we cannot just let into the atmosphere. So there are methods, so that has to be trained to a lot of people in our country how to handle them. Then ensure that the installation is done with the manpower who are trained, so that we do not have short circuits or risks of short circuits, refrigerant leaks, then the proper handling and of the material. So this is what we would like to see in the year 2022 and in the future for cold stores. So I'll be here.